If you are a people pleaser or a nice guy syndrome, if you're too nice, if you avoid confrontation, if you're anxious about asserting yourself, and if you struggle to say no to people, then it might be the case that you have a little rage demon in your mind, in your psyche somewhere. A rage demon that's dormant. A rage demon that you've stuffed into a closet and you've shut the door on him. And maybe that rage demon wants to come out, but you don't know how. And in this video, man, I'm going to talk about that rage demon. I'm going to talk about a very strange way. It's strange, but I really want you to keep an open mind in this video. But it's a method that you can use, that I used personally, to overcome that sort of, and to not kill the inner nice guy. I don't want to use that terminology, but to resolve the inner nice guy to the point where I can be assertive and be authentic and be unapologetic and communicate myself openly and clearly and set boundaries so that I can feel just generally really good in my relationships and really good in my life and feel like I'm worthy of respect and all that other good stuff. And if we've never met before, mate, hello, my name is Oliver, and on this channel I help men heal the boy within so they can become the man without. I'm still going through renditions of the tagline, but that's the basic premise. But before I talk about the rage demon, before I tell you how to resolve the rage demon, let me tell you how I realized that a rage demon lived inside of me. Now, to be very, very clear, if you've never met me before, you won't know this, but I used to be a nice guy. I used to be a super nice guy, the nicest guy you will ever meet. I used to be a chronic people pleaser, socially anxious around everybody, although I didn't realize it at the time. It was just normal for me, but I would constantly assess myself based on how people felt about me. I didn't really know who I was. Who I was a chameleon, adapting and changing himself to suit what I thought everyone else wanted me to be. I said yes to things when I wanted to say no. I would apologize for everything, even if it wasn't my fault. Even if I didn't do anything, I would just apologize. No matter sorry about that. I'm sorry about this, but could you always apologetic, always walking on eggshells, never feeling confident in myself, never feeling comfortable. So then I went through a pretty horrible breakup where the woman basically, she left me for another guy who seemed like an alpha. It was fucking heartbreaking. But at the time, that had me reflect. I was reflecting on myself. I was like, well, what's going on with me? In that moment, when she left, I was like, I have to reflect on myself and realize, like, I have to learn what is it about me that's not working out. Very powerful catalyst for self-reflection. And one thing I kind of realized was that I was a nice guy. I was a people pleaser. I was a pushover, basically. And she lost respect for me. And when a woman loses respect for a man, she soon loses attraction. If respect goes, attraction follows. And that's essentially what happened. So then I started asking myself a few questions and started doing the work on myself to uncover what it was about me. What was the stuff inside me that was going on? And one thing that I uncovered a lot, but one of the things I uncovered, which is the topic of this video, is that I had a very negative relationship with my anger, which was quite weird. I actually thought that anger was a negative thing. It had to be pushed away. There's no good use for anger, I would tell myself. But then this didn't work, because occasionally, and even in reflection, looking back on the relationship, I would have a few occasions where I would have what I now call rage attacks. Never towards other people and never in the presence of other people, but for example, one time, my girlfriend at the time, she crossed a boundary. She publicly humiliated me, actually, in hindsight. But instead of saying anything about it, I went quiet. And you know what I did? After the social event finished, I got in my car, drove away when I was on my own, and then I screamed at the top of my lungs. I didn't even know what I was really angry about because I was so disconnected from my own boundaries and my own self-respect, but something in me was not happy. So I screamed at the top of my lungs, tore up my vocal cords, doing it. It's what we call a rage attack. Turns out I had a rage demon inside me that I'd been repressing since I was a child, and occasionally that rage demon bust out of the closet and made a noise. So that's one of the things that was creating my nice guy syndrome, is a negative relationship to rage and anger. Maybe you can relate to this, man. And I'll take a brief stop in the story to ask you, what's your relationship with anger, mate? When you get angry, how do you deal with it? How comfortable are you if someone disrespects you, saying to them, that made me angry. What you just said made me angry. I'm angry by what you did. You did this and that really pissed me off. How comfortable are you saying that? How comfortable are you having that conversation with your wife, with your girlfriend, with people at work, with your friends, with a stranger even? These kind of questions point you towards your relationship with the rage demon inside of you. The rage demon that I believe every man needs to integrate if he is to be a good man. Not just a nice man, not a nice ineffectual man, harmless. It's not the same thing. To be a good man, you've got to get the rage demon inside integrated. But anyway, I digress. But back to the story. Why was I so had I repressed my rage and anger for so long? And I'm going to tell you why I did it, and maybe you can relate to this in your own life. When I was a kid, I was a very violent child. I was a very violent kid. I was constantly initiating play fights. This is me, like 5 or 6 years old, trying to grapple all the kids at school, grabbing hold of them, trying to Urgh. I liked to grapple, I liked to fight, I liked combat. My first idol was Bruce Lee. I remember watching Bruce Lee, The Way of the Dragon, and thinking, this guy is an absolute badass, I want to be this guy. I remember playing violent video games. Mortal Kombat was my favourite game as a kid. Scorpion, Sub-Zero. Loved it, my favourite thing. I drew violent stuff. I had a talent for drawing and art, so I would draw violent scapes of like warfare and people shooting each other and stuff. And one day, I drew something a little bit too violent, and the drawing made its way back to my parents. The drawing was so graphic that the headmistress of the school thought that she raised a cause for concern. She wrote a cause for concern letter and sent the drawing to my parents. And you know what my parents did in response to that? They punished me for it very badly. They said, Oliver, you are too violent. You're too aggressive. My dad even went as far as to say, Oliver, you have a warped mind. And in that moment, little Oliver got the message, I'm broken. I'm bad. There's something wrong with me. Mummy and Daddy are telling me that I'm too violent. I can't be that. I shouldn't be that. Being violent makes me a bad boy. So little Oliver in that moment decided to put the rage demon, which at that point it wasn't even a demon, it was just a playful little creature that liked to get angry and liked to fight. Harmless, really. So. Put it in the closet and lock the door. The thing is, we need to realise is about these parts of ourselves, when we put them in the closet, slam the door and lock it, those things in the closet, they grow. They get more intense, they get more powerful, they make more noise because they're not integrated, they're not allowed to free roam, and we're not allowed to interact with them. Try putting a person in solitary confinement in a cell and expecting them to be happy over the course of 5 years, 10 years. It's not going to happen. The same thing applies to certain parts of ourselves. So I put that rage demon in the closet. But the problem was with that is that rage demon also served the function of protecting me. And because I put the rage demon in the closet, the next 10 years of my life, from primary school to secondary school, I was bullied. Why? Because I didn't have the rage demon. I didn't have access to that part of me that could have asserted himself and could have set a boundary and could have punched someone in the face if he deserved it. Which I went through many things where that would have helped, actually. I didn't have access to my own rage. And as I grew up from secondary school, after being bullied, it ruined my self-esteem. And over the years, the nice guy was all I had left to try and navigate the social world. It wasn't until I started doing men's work and started diving into my own masculinity and doing shadow work. Click the link in the bio to do the journal. And I started doing shadow work and realising that, man, I need to integrate this rage demon. I need to let it out. I need to make friends with this rage demon. And here's the weird exercise I teased at the start of the video. Is what you need to do, man, is you need to sit there in meditation and you need to contact the part of you that is angry. That contact the part of you that is capable of mayhem, rage, and chaos. You need to sit there with a bit of active imagination and think, right, What's that part of me? Think of a time recently that pissed you off. Allow yourself to be inhabited by the memory. Allow that part of you to come through open the door to the closet and come through and inhabit your body. And start having a conversation. One practice I like to use with a pen and paper is I like to use a movie script. I'll put Rage Demon and let him say something. Oh, I fucking hate that guy. How dare he? And then I would reply, say, oh, shit, man, that sounds hard. What can I do to help you? And you'd have a back and forth conversation with that part of you. And you can do this with any part of you. But this applies too. One thing I started doing over time is, as I started to become friends with my Rage Demon, the inner savage, I started noticing myself carrying myself with better posture. I was walking taller. I was looking people in the eye. Something very strange in a man's psyche when he knows that he can defend himself if needs be. Which is quite strange because I'd had 2 MMA fights. I trained as an MMA fighter, but it's just in the social world for some reason the Rage Demon was in the closet because he thought he'd be a bad person. But by integrating that, I gained self-respect and I gained confidence. My dating life changed completely. I wasn't just this ineffectual, nice guy who didn't even respect himself. I started showing up differently. So man, if you're a nice guy, if you're a people pleaser, then what I urge you to do, mate, is I urge you to change your relationship with anger, to change your relationship with rage, to see the anger that might exist in you as a beautiful thing when harnessed correctly. See, when you push the anger and rage away, you're actually pushing away the opportunity for a lot of energy in your life. You're pushing away a lot of life force that you could use, you could integrate, and you could harness it in your life as a force for good. And how tiring is it, mate, honestly? Let's be real. You pushing that energy away, you stuffing that down for so long, what's it costing you? Isn't it tiring to deny this big part of yourself? That's why I say to men, every man should learn a martial art. Every man needs an outlet for that demon within, the inner savage man, the inner wild man, as Robert Bly, author of Iron John, would put it. So integrate the anger, integrate the rage, make friends with it, find a safe place for it to be let out. And you will not be a nice guy anymore. You will be a good man. You'll have a set of teeth that are sharp and you'll know how to use them. And then you might respect yourself and you might even trust yourself. Mate, that's the video. Thank you very much and I'll see you next time. Stay courageous.